Coming together as students from opposite sides of the border, we see the value of education as a means for more opportunities and enhancing the student experience. With these values in mind, we are here to focus on the relationship between San Diego and Tijuana on the basis of education in order to raise awareness of the opportunities to innovate collaboratively as one distinct region, which will retrospectively destigmatize stereotypes, create inclusivity, and enhance the transborder student experience.
Taking a closer look at the data, we could see that San Diego State acceptance rate is about 35%, and UABC acceptance rate is about 75%, which there is a very significant difference right there. The majors that are being provided within both schools, UABC 62, San Diego State 71, which is around roughly the same. Population based on enrollment, UABC is about 35,000 up to 39,000. San Diego State about 34,828. San Diego State University is currently one of the impacted campuses in the CSU system. Now the campus sites, UABC has 3 locations, one in Tijuana, which is the one that we are attending, and a location in Ensenada and Mexicali. Campus sites at San Diego State, the main campus site is College Area in San Diego, and another campus area is Imperial Valley Campus in Calexico. Now we're taking a close look at tuition. For in-state students at San Diego State, it's about $7,560. Out-of-state students, it's $19,340. In UABC, which is very different depending on your majors, between $200 to $500. For out-of-state students, you can see that it's significantly different. However, some similarities between both of the schools is that they both run on semester systems. There's a lot of different schools that run on quarter systems, especially within the UC and private schools. Therefore, semesters are something that's very common between both schools, especially also financial aid. Financial aid is very important for the academic success of students, especially those who are struggling not only to pay tuition, but to pay for housing, for food, for books. All those other basic needs are something that a lot of students struggle with besides paying for tuition.
So even though I've lived in San Diego for my entire life, I've actually never had the opportunity to go across the border. And I think the primary reason for this is just because my grandmother lives really close to the border in Chula Vista, so just we never went further south than that.
Yeah, so I went to TJ for an entrepreneurship class project. So we visited startup incubators in Tijuana, and we went to a food truck incubator, and then we circled back to one of the premier Tijuana business clubs.
Before, yeah, I've been to TJ a couple times before coming to this class, but not on a regular basis or anything like that.
And then what were you doing anytime you came over here?
Mostly I just went to either Rosarito or stayed in TJ just for the day, just walking around, not doing anything specific.
Yeah, so my perspective on the other side of the border is that I really don't have one to begin with. And the reason is because there isn't a lot of news surrounding this sort of topic. There's not a lot of publicity around it, and it's just something that I'm not very much aware of at this present moment.
So my perspective of education kind of comes through the lens of Cetys University. So my entrepreneurship program, the Lab and Entrepreneurship program, had a partnership with Cetys, and Cetys arranged a tour for us and were able to bring us around.
I'm not sure if I had any real expectations coming in. I didn't think that their system of education was going to be like ours. I probably expected it to be cheaper, maybe free, but I didn't have any big expectations.
Bueno, pienso que como cuentan con más recursos allá, tienen una variedad de programas más ricos o profundos que en México. Entonces, a lo mejor es parecida, pero con un abanico mucho más grande de posibilidades.
So what's really convenient about the geographical location of these two cities is that San Diego and Tijuana are not 30 minutes apart without any traffic. And so because this international border is in such close proximity, I believe that from both sides we should really take advantage of learning business culture and business practices from both countries, just because this can bring us closer to global society, as well as exchanging some other values and ideas that we may have never thought about before.
So one way that Tijuana and San Diego collaborate is through the cross-border integration of business. So we learned all about how workers from Mexico are contracting out to the U.S. So the U.S. gets cheaper labor, but then the workers workers in Mexico get better paid than Mexican firms. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. And also workers in Mexico are going to the US 1 day a week, maybe like a Friday, to do an in-person meeting and work in the office, and the 4 days of the week they'll work from home. So kind of increasing cross-border collaboration between workers and employees and also firms in the region.
Bueno, principalmente sería promover programas de convivencia o colaboración entre alumnos de aquí y de allá para que vayamos a practicar, entender al otro y trabajar juntos para, no, principalmente establecer metas comunes, así es.
Cetys University is a Tijuana-based institution that might be a game changer in today's transnational education dynamic. We are used to seeing people living in Mexico crossing the border to study in the United States, but Cetys' new double degree program might turn things around. They offer the opportunity of studying in Mexico with a tuition that is lower than most universities in the United States, and also with more chances of getting scholarships, while at the same time getting 2 degrees, one valid in Mexico and the other one in the United States. For master's degree students, they collaborate with the University of San Diego with a degree of Master of Science in Global Leadership by both institutions. For university level students, they offer the double degree with the City University of Seattle, where you spend a summer getting classes directly from them, and by the end of your studies, you have 2 diplomas from both institutions. This is also being marketed for students from San Diego, so they can consider the opportunity of studying in Mexico with this program.
It is important to highlight the binational programs happening at this moment while also acknowledging the invisibility of the programs in regards to students and the U.S.-Mexico administrations. San Diego State University, SDSU, offers trans-border courses and an exchange program in the San Diego-Tijuana region linked to universities in Baja California, Mexico. Currently working alongside SDSU is the Universidad Autónoma de Baja California, UABC, y el Colegio de la Frontera Norte. The courses focus on different subjects like globalization, public health, disaster response, tourism, sociology, and the U.S.-Mexico border. There's also another binational collaboration course with SDSU, UABC, and the University of California, San Diego, offered to students in the medical field. The course gives them the opportunities to work together as a team and provide medical services in las colonias of Baja California, Mexico. Several of the trans-border courses started as pilot programs and have been successful and continue to be offered. There's also a forthcoming project, Global Migration in a Border City, reproducing Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America in Tijuana, Mexico, that will bring to the San Diego-Tijuana region K-12 or K-16 faculty in the Latin American Studies and College of Education Department from the University of Michigan. Dr. David Wysocki will be leading the project at SDSU in the Latin American Department. Dr. Wysocki states the purpose is to help understand the migration experience and what it means to live in a border town. It will help faculty achieve some measure of cultural fluency in the region, understand and work with migrants or other first-generation students. It is evidence of the importance of collaborating in binational education, specifically in San Diego-Tijuana. To make sure the programs are successful, both nations, the United States and Mexico administrations, need to acknowledge the trans-border student communities and protect and assure a smooth border crossing. A few campuses have the Transfronterizo Alliance Student Organization, TASO, which strives to create a safe environment and a more inclusive campus for trans-border students that will enhance their college education. TASO aims to establish the organization in K-12 schools and in higher education and provide visibility in academia throughout the San Diego-Tijuana region.
When we put together this course a few years ago, administrators and faculty at UABC and SDSU, San Diego State, had interest in building a better binational community in San Diego and Tijuana, and we know that students on both sides of the border have had limited opportunities to interact with each other. And really from the U.S. perspective, I'll speak more of the U.S. perspective, a lot of our students in San Diego have certain ideas can't afford other programs. It brings a lot of students into Tijuana to help demystify the border region and kind of see the region as like a shared, as one region, as a shared space. So it's not really something that is in reality cut into two, even though we understand, there are certain realities to that wall and everything too.
Yeah, from UABC perspective, the main objective is to give students the chance to have an international course without actually have to go abroad. A lot of our students can't afford, it's just not possible for them to afford to go abroad, even just across the border. So through our internationalization program, we try to bring this type of courses over to the students so they can have a mobility in situ and avoid all the hassle and all the process of them having to go abroad.
I think that there's a big imbalance in the programs right now with a sense of movement of students. We have several programs established right now in San Diego State, which I'm very proud to be a part of. There's some of the most unique programs actually in the United States that I'm aware of, and in Mexico, these types of programs. But it's very challenging to sort of reciprocate in the sense of having the Mexican students be able to come to the United States and experience our universities. In the past, in this class, we've only really been able to bring students over to San Diego State kind of once a semester. We've talked in the past about making it more, but it's challenging, not just from a cost perspective, but from getting the visas and actually the travel experience in terms of time, everything else. What time do you leave to Tijuana to get to our 4 o'clock class in San Diego?
We leave at noon.
And sometimes they get there early, and sometimes you get there late. Actually,
Depends on the day and how much traffic there is.
Traffic and the way of the weather. Right? Yeah, exactly. So that would be that's my perspective.
Yeah, so from what I say, there's a lot of legal issues that prohibit us from going to the U.S. The visa situation is pretty tricky because we're not students, or at least the students, they're not going to the U.S. to study, but we're not tourists either. So we're in a legal limbo that doesn't really have any type of definition, and that's one of the main challenges that not just the universities have, but also the U.S. Consulate and Mexican Foreign Service abroad. They don't know how to describe this type of experiences. From an institutional point of view, it's pretty difficult because a lot of the resources that are needed to be invested in this type of experience. Here in UABC, there's an approximate of 10 courses that are homologated courses between SDSU and UABC that aren't really being taken into action yet because we don't have the resources on this side of the board. The university, SDSU might have them, but if it's not reciprocal, it's pretty difficult for this type of experience to go on presently and to even consider them in the near future.
I was a teacher before I started working in international education and then working in the State Department. So I think that's really one of the most important goals that I think is commonly shared by Department of State and particularly our Education and Cultural Affairs section. Building more opportunities, either exchanges on both sides that give opportunities for Americans to either visit other countries, including Mexico, that are funded. Those kinds of opportunities are things that I think we've done historically that have really big impact, and I think the State Department continues to see the value in proceeding with those. On the other side of that, there's a lot of potential, and I think already happens, especially you guys probably know better than I do, between the local, especially along the border, the local universities working together. So any way that we can, that the State Department can help facilitate those kinds of exchanges and help continue to grow those kinds of things, I think are very important. And I think that is something that our colleagues at value. Both countries can see benefits from both sides as far as sharing best practices, and then also by just having those one-on-one conversations between American students and Mexican students to building good relationships with each other. It's a great question.
Yeah, I think they're like at least the Tijuana students in our class are way more informed and a lot, I just guess, educated about a lot more things than I think even a lot of American students are on just different things that are happening all over the world. They just seem overall very well informed. I think it's awesome that we're having this class, and I feel like if the way that this was really successful and how much we've learned from each other and just all the content in the class, there should be more classes like this. I'm optimistic that there will be. What I would recommend it to really anyone, and you don't have to be in a specific major. I think anyone can really gain a lot of knowledge from taking a course like this and just being immersed in a different culture with different people. I think it was a really valuable experience in my opinion.
As students from San Diego State University y la Universidad Autónoma de Baja California en Tijuana, Alexis Juarez, Cordova, Denise Arreola, Lizbeth Zatarain, and Stephanie Estrada have come to realize the many ways in which binational transnational education positively impact the San Diego and Tijuana region in building bridges between both nations. Thanks to this course, Latin American Studies, Globalization in the Americas, students enrolled from Tijuana and San Diego have first-hand experienced the process of globalization, having immersed themselves amongst one another and collaborating throughout. This course is an amazing stepping stone for the future potential of the San Diego and Tijuana region. However, it is essential that it continues to grow. Education is one of the primary goals commonly shared by the Department of State as well as the Educational and Cultural Affairs section of the Consulate. Building more opportunities between the exchanges on both sides of the border is vital to the success of globalization amongst both countries. Thus far, the Department of State has funded educational programs for Americans to visit many Latin American countries. Yet with the Tijuana border as San Diego's backyard, there needs to be more emphasis on the programs in this region. As the State Department continues to see the value of proceeding with these programs and opportunities, there's a lot of potential between our local region of Tijuana and San Diego for future relationships and exchanges. By expressing our voice, the State Department can continue to help grow and facilitate these future opportunities.